You decided to build something you felt passionate about, something you could do on your own schedule, create income and freedom for yourself. So you bought the tech, you set up systems, you did everything you were supposed to do, and somehow your business still feels like you're running a marathon. It's not the freedom that you were seeking when you started. So today I want to talk about that and why it happens and what's actually going on. Hey, and welcome to the podcast with Brooke. Everything I do is built around helping women whose businesses are working, but costing them everything to run. I help you get your back-end systems into a state that makes sense. Let's dig into it. I have been behind the scenes of businesses for the last 20 years. I was behind the scenes in corporate. I've been behind the scenes in my own business and in other people's businesses for years. And the story that I hear often sounds something like this. You started your business with what you had, the budget you had, the knowledge you had, the tools that you could afford at the time and figure out at the time. And you pieced things together as you went along because something wasn't quite working. So you added another tool and that was supposed to fix it. That tool had a gap, so you added another one. And someone in a Facebook group swore by this specific platform, so you tried that and you thought that would fix everything. The course you took recommended a certain tech stack, so you set that up alongside of it or inside of it or instead of it. And it all worked for a while because when you're building something new and the volume's manageable, you have time to figure things out as they come up. You can patch together systems, you can do some things manually, and you can absolutely get the job done. But here's what happens when that business starts to grow and the volume increases, the launches get bigger, the client load gets heavier, and the number of moving pieces multiplies. And that tech stack that you built for a smaller, simpler version of your business is now trying to hold something significantly more complex. And it simply can't. And the result of that is that you're far busier than you need to be. Your business has clients, you're bringing in revenue, but you're the kind of exhausted that deep down, you know you can't maintain forever. And it doesn't make any freaking sense because you bought the tools you were supposed to buy. They were supposed to close the gaps. You weren't supposed to have to be so present in all this technical stuff. But when someone buys something from you, you're in there, manually adding them to the right list. Someone opts in and you're manually tagging them into the sequence. Your launch goes live and you're manually managing and moving people through your sequence. Each week, there's a pile of small administrative tasks that were not on your calendar, but somehow ate up your entire afternoon. And then you look at other businesses and they seem to be running smoothly. They seem to have everything together. And you wonder what it is that you're missing because you have the same tools they have, and it still feels like you're holding the whole thing together with your bare hands. I need you to hear me on this clearly and, come closer. The way that you built your tech stack for your business is not wrong. It never was. It was exactly the way you were supposed to build it. What's happening is that tech you picked up here and there as you were building was maybe never properly introduced to each other. Or maybe it worked for a while, but now you need something bigger. And you're the one in the middle translating and compensating for them manually every single day. And that is the marathon. It was never supposed to be your job. When you look at those businesses that seem to be running smoothly and they look all put together, they appear to be humming along without the owner visibly drowning. Here's what's almost always true. They have someone helping them behind the scenes and doing the work that you're doing as the owner right now. Either their tech stack has been properly aligned with their business needs and actually is doing the heavy lifting for them, or they have a person like a virtual assistant or an OBM, someone who's holding the pieces that you should not have to hold. Or honestly, they probably have both. The business that looks effortless from the outside, it's not. They're supported, not effortless. And most of the time that support is invisible because it's working the way it's supposed to work. And the reason I want you to know that is because so many women that I talk to have been running their businesses completely alone, doing everything manually, managing every piece of tech themselves. And they're believing that everyone else is doing the same thing and that they're somehow failing because they're not able to make it look as effortless. And you just think this is what running a business is supposed to feel like, and it's not, or at least it doesn't have to be. So I want to talk about your business right now because what I know about it is that it's working. You've proven the concept, you have clients, you have income, you have momentum. And the infrastructure underneath all of that is held together with a combination of platforms that were not designed to work together. Manual processes that exist only in your head and your own constant presence filling the gap that your tech should be filling. That worked while you were building, my friend, while the volume was lower and the complexity was manageable and you had the bandwidth to hold it all. But your business is ready to grow. It's growing past that now. And the gap between what your infrastructure can hold and what your business actually needs is where all that exhaustion is coming from. This is the moment where something has to change, because what got you here cannot and will not take you where you're going without massive burnout. And the good news is that this is one of the most fixable things in a business once you can see it clearly. If you're listening to this and you're recognizing your business and what I just described, I want you to know that seeing it clearly is actually the hardest part. And you're already there because you listened to this podcast and you took in every single word I said, and now you know, right? But the next step, my friend, is figuring out exactly what needs to change and in what order it should change. What needs to be connected, what needs to be replaced, what needs to be documented, what needs to be handed off. And that's a very specific conversation that looks very different for every single business. If you want to have that conversation about your specific business, that's exactly what I do. The link to work with me is in the show notes. And if you want to start auditing your own backend before we talk, I actually have a free resource in the show notes that walks you through exactly what needs to exist in your business right now and do it on your own. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you next Tuesday.